Raise your hand if you can relate. We all can. But why does this happen? Well, because somewhere along the way, we got the signal that it's risky to stick our necks out. It's impolite to ask questions, or that it's a weakness to say, I don't know. Rather than making a contribution, we withhold. And these behaviors are huge barriers for creative collaboration. When we collaborate to solve complex, ambiguous problems, it's the knowledge and ideas that people bring that add the most value. But first, we need to create the right conditions for those perspectives to be shared. Conditions that make people feel comfortable, to make mistakes, to express what they think, to not always know the answers. This is especially important on collaborative teams made up of diverse perspectives and disciplines. Naturally, people with different backgrounds approach, solve, and talk about problems in different ways. And being that we're human and we're hardwired for belonging, it's easier to blend in than risk sticking out. So, if we aren't encouraged to hold our unique perspectives, if we aren't reminded that our difference is both valid and valuable, we will fall into consensus every time instead of pushing beyond the familiar. Establishing the right conditions enables a team to tap into their full potential, influencing the likelihood for innovation. In 2016, Google studied 180 teams to determine why some thrive while others don't. They found that teams capable of creating a trusting and respectful environment were more likely to utilize the power of diversity, bring in more revenue, and were rated twice as effective by executives. These findings are further supported by the work of Amy Edmondson, a professor at Harvard Business School. What Google found, she calls psychological safety, a condition of teams where members feel like they can suggest ideas, admit mistakes, and take risks without any negative consequence. According to Edmondson's research, there are 3 essential behaviors for creating a trusting and respectful environment for collaboration. Learning. The goal of creative collaboration is to explore unknown directions and to develop new possibilities. So it's not about knowing the answers, it's about learning through exploration and experimentation.
When you are learning, when you express to others on your team that you're learning, you're more vulnerable. It's easier for them to come to you. It's easier for them to share things with you. It's easier to bounce off ideas. If you come across as totally knowing what the outcome is or what you think, whatever the situation is, people are less likely to maybe try to tweak or change things. Any great idea at IDEO is always something we build upon. Nobody actually knows where the birth of that idea came from because everybody adds to that idea until it's really a marvelous solution to whatever we're looking at.
In my own career, one way that I've reframed a knowing opportunity into a learning opportunity is when I've transitioned roles. So I went from a marketing role to an experience role. And in that transition, I asked the most junior members of the team to be my mentors. And I shadowed them, and they taught me everything that I needed to know from their perspective. They were the experts.
Approaching collaboration with a learning mindset is incredibly important because only by using that mindset will we get to the results that we're hoping for, true innovation. Most organizations ding you if you have a failure or you make a mistake. And people know that and they start to act accordingly. What if we moved mistakes or failures from the con column to the pro column? What if for every mistake or failure, as a leader, you pull out the thing we learned from it? That thing we learned has exponential value, and it's a way to turn fear of making a fool of oneself to enthusiasm or excitement for what else can we do?
Curiosity. Adopting a curious mindset keeps us alert to new signals and new information, compelling us to question what we know and to explore what we don't. It helps us stay open and optimistic, and there's no better way to get people to engage than by asking a question that invites their participation. Being curious also helps you monitor conditions of the team. When emotions crop up like friction or fear, lean in and get curious instead of trying to quickly pass through this.
I model curiosity by organizing inspirational field trips across the city to different experience teams so that we can meet people who are thinking about the same problems that we do, but from different perspectives.
Curiosity is extremely important for teams in creative collaboration. How many rooms have you been in where someone offered an idea and someone else said, yeah, but, or we don't have time, or we don't have the investment? What if, as a leader, you leaned in with true curiosity instead to say, that's an interesting idea. How might we do that? How might we build on that? How might we make that happen?
We work on a variety of projects. Not all of them are the most glitzy, exciting projects, but if you're truly curious, you can find that nugget which makes that project sensational. When you exhibit curiosity to your team, it's a vulnerability too, because you don't know all the answers. You're curious, you're asking questions. And I think you get that back from your team members. You're trying to get to a goal which you're not sure what that goal is, and you're all being curious and vulnerable. That shows you a path to get there.
Vulnerability. A counterintuitive but key behavior is to lead with vulnerability. Being vulnerable at work doesn't mean spilling your private life at the water cooler. It means owning your strengths and weaknesses in service of building trust. And when we're vulnerable, we invite others in.
The way I use vulnerability to inspire collaboration is by starting sentences with, I have a hunch, instead of I have the answers. This leaves the field open for other people to confirm or complicate my hunch.
One of the most vulnerable side of yourself you could show is failure. Letting someone know or giving examples of when things didn't work out for you. It disarms people. It allows people to be more open with you when they realize that you've gone through failure and you came out the other side, and that you're willing to share that with them.
Vulnerability is crucially important for collaboration. There are going to be moments when, as a leader, you do not know the answer. You may not know the way forward, but you probably have a great deal of faith in the people gathered together on that team or in the processes that you've set up to get you to a result. This is a moment to share that with your team. It's a moment to say, hey, I don't know the answer, but I have faith that we have all of the components necessary to get there. If you do not articulate that to your team, to the people around you, how will they ever know that you may need their contribution? How will they ever know that this is the moment for them to really lean in and offer some answers themselves?
Combined, these behaviors serve as the foundation to support creative collaboration. Learning explains why our voice matters. Curiosity creates a need for it, and vulnerability makes us feel safe enough to use it. Managing this climate is an ongoing effort, and in the coming lessons, you will find opportunities to reinforce and strengthen these behaviors on your team. We can't simply assemble a group of talented people and ask for innovation. We need to create the conditions that enable it to emerge and thrive instead.